Please read the disclaimer. XRP holders Coinbase just said no, and Raoul Paul thinks that the crypto market is about to 50x. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.38, down minus 2% on the day. The crypto market took a little bit of a spill here. Also, Bitcoin down back to 70,000. Ethereum down at 2123. If we look at the indicators, we can still see that XRP is strong sell here from the moving averages, 14 sell, 1 neutral, 0 buy. Also, the oscillators are neutral, sell, 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 neutral. So we've seen this in the past. When XRP gets to these kinds of levels, it could be that we're in store for a turnaround here. It will be very interesting to see because the crypto market has been affected in the past few days a lot about what's happening geopolitically. So we're going to have to see what happens. Of course, the Clarity Act is what's weighing down right now on the crypto market. And we'll see how this plays out. Pre-market is opening here in a few minutes, but if we go and we look at gold and silver, they are down. Gold is down to 4,400, and silver is down all the way to 69. So this is an interesting situation, and oil is actually up this morning to 93. So oil is coming up, whereas gold, silver, and crypto are actually pulling back. And in just a few minutes, 3 minutes here, we'll see what's going on with the stock market, the pre-market. But it's going to be interesting to see how today plays out after last night Iran rejected the 12-point agreement from the US. And I told you my thoughts on that, what could potentially happen here today. If we look here from any data that could be coming out today, March 26th, we have initial jobless claims, so maybe that can shake the market a little bit. But for the most part, there's nothing real. There's no PPI, no CPI, no PCE, no Fed decision, no FOMC meeting minutes or anything like that. So the only thing that could maybe is the initial jobless claims. If it's very good or very bad, it could rock the market a little bit. Outside of that, there isn't really anything outside of the fact the Coinbase said no. Right? Coinbase yet again rejects Senate stablecoin yield compromise. Coinbase pushes back on the latest Clarity Act draft, warning the proposed rules could limit how stablecoin yields are structured across the industry. The current language bans passive yield while allowing activity-based rewards under a broader economic equivalence standard. Without Coinbase backing, the bill faces an uncertain path and could stall indefinitely if not passed by May. Now, on the flip side, we have Patrick from the White House, or you could say the President's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets, saying plenty of uninformed FUD circulating in social media this week. It's all going to work out, bullish. And, Fred here is asking, what about Coinbase? Not if people stop giving a bleep what Coinbase thinks. When did Coinbase become the government exactly? I must have missed the announcement that they got a vote at the Senate. The fact is that once Coinbase pulled out back there in January, right? If you remember, people have already forgotten, but XRP was all the way up at $2.40, and XRP has dropped about 40 something percent, 42% since Coinbase pulled out. So of course, this has a huge effect on potentially does this bill pass or not. Now they might pass it without Coinbase's support. And what does that really mean? Well, it gets passed without Coinbase support, right? But they paused it after Coinbase pulled out initially. They paused it was supposed to go to the banking committee, right? And that got moved down the line because Coinbase pulled out, and the senators were like, wait a second. If Coinbase is pulling out and there's not the support here of the cryptocurrency market community, then let's stop for a second, right? But now they're afraid that if they don't pass it now, then potentially it won't get passed, right? So this is the fear. So the question now turns into, is it better to pass the way it is or not pass at all? And I think I'm still in the school of let's get it passed. And the yields will be the yields, and maybe down the line something can be changed. But again, we don't know what's going to happen in these midterm elections. We don't know what's going to happen in the next administration. Things can change, things can flip, right? Things can seem like, oh, it's all butterflies and flowers right now for the crypto market from a government standpoint. But that could change. We've seen this happen before. Although I told you, once the genie is out of the bottle and people see that it's not that bad, it's very hard to bring it back into the bottle and say, look, it's so bad after people already saw that it wasn't bad. But we'll see. We'll see how potentially again this will all play out. Now, Raoul Paul, we talked about him last night, and him saying that the first quarter was going to be when the banana zone starts. He still thinks that the second quarter is when things are going to get bouncy here. There's this clip here, but the sound cuts off for some reason in the mid. But he sees the crypto market hitting 100 trillion this cycle. Right now, we're only at 2.4 trillion. So that's a 50x almost by June of 2026. Raw simple thesis is this. This cycle mirrors 2017, but bigger. 2017 had retail, no ETFs, no AI, no institutions. 2026 has all of it. The math is not crazy. The timeline is tight. Now, maybe Raoul Paul is right about this. In the clip that does have sound, he talks about how all the Middle East is going towards blockchain and going just tokenization of everything, and the crypto market is in a totally different place than it was 3-4 years ago when Bitcoin was basically at the same price. But you have to remember, many times price action is not about what it's what could be, right? And in 2021, there was what could be, right? People, of course, there was FOMO and there was everything. There was that pushed the prices up so high, but there was also the potential of what could be. Okay. And so when you have that many times, it fuels the market in ways that it wouldn't, even though if there's good news. The same way we ran up in November, even though we didn't know November of 2024, we didn't know, what was going to happen. But the fact that, Trump won and there was hope and we didn't know what was going to get passed or wasn't going to get passed, but money just started flowing in because of the potential of the SEC, drop in the court case, the potential of Trump putting through pro crypto laws, the potential of Trump starting a crypto reserve, right? All these things, the potential of people were talking about no potential taxes on US crypto. Remember that? Since then, it's kind of disappeared. Nobody talks about it. But all of those things were potential. And then people bought for the potential. Right now, the potential is uncertain because of the Clarity Act. Okay? If the Clarity Act doesn't pass, it could delay a lot of the things that we were hoping for the crypto market in the US. The world is a different thing. But a lot of what happens, you've noticed, and about 60% of you are from the US, anywho, because I see the statistics. But crypto is worldwide, right? So, South Korea, Japan, China, not so much, but think of China would have had a full-blown, crypto market activity there. That could change in the future. Who knows? India and, all these countries around the world that are actively engaging in the crypto market. So Singapore, of course. So it's going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen in the next coming months, and maybe he will be right, maybe he'll be wrong. Again, as always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or to send me anything. Those are scammers. Please be very careful out there. I will never DM you. I will never befriend you first. Those are imposters. Please be very careful out there. Okay. So this is interesting from Marilyn here, saying the altcoin dominance MACD just crossed, 4th time in history. In 2017, crossover happened on day 333, alt season followed. 2020, it happened 590, alt season followed. 2023, it happened, alt season followed. 2026, it happened right now. Hold 7% dominant, rotation begins, lose it, crossover needs confirmation. 3 previous signals, 3 alt season, the 4th just happened. So could potentially this mean that we're about to see the crypto market rally here? Raoul Paul thinks so. Marilyn here is saying that there's the indicators that are telling us, but, and we've talked about this before, right? I like big butts and I cannot lie. The previous crossover had 0 interest rates and retail stimulus checks acting in the tailwind, right? We talked about how previous cycles had almost in 2020 it was 0, 2017 it was around 1.5 interest rates, right? We're in a totally different ecosystem right now. And yes, so then we had low interest rates. Now we have ETFs and institutions that we didn't have back then. Remember, crypto back then was still looked at as untouchable in 2017, even though it was, a lot of news outlets were talking about it in 2017. It was bananas. 2020, of course, but in 2017, it was still looked at as something, like only the people in the shadows use crypto, right? Now, BlackRock, ETFs, and Fidelity and institutions and JP Morgan, and like all these big, Visa and MasterCard offering crypto, and so it's a whole different thing. I just went onto one of my accounts and like a bank thing in the US, and it said crypto, right? So it's not the same that it is or was back then. So it's a totally different ecosystem, and things that worked in 2017 and 2020 might not be working now. We know this because none of the quote unquote bull market indicators that had flashed the previous times at the top flashed this time. Right. And we look at Plan B's graph and it didn't get to the red dots and all these things that, just don't add up. Something broke. I said this last night. I read about, potentially it could still be a problem from FTX, and then I'm unwinding their positions. And it was very interesting. I couldn't find it. I looked for it, but I couldn't find the tweet because I didn't remember who wrote it. But a very interesting situation. And again, I try to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Benjamin is still very bearish on the market right now. He says the reason the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin top for Bitcoin feels different is because this is the first major top Bitcoin has had during a late business cycle environment. It explains why there was no out season, why Bitcoin has been bleeding to SPX, and why SPX has been bleeding to gold. We got a glimpse of the type of environment in 2019, but then the pandemic caused a crisis which reset the business cycle. It also happened during the middle of the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin rather than the end of the one. The cycle has been more brutal because there has not yet been a crisis to allow the business cycle to end and for things to reset. So the business cycle keeps on limping along while high-risk assets continue to bleed out to lower-risk assets, and realistically, we should not expect that trend to change until the business cycle ends. This is, again, he's like, listen, this is the year after the 4-year cycle, or the year of the midterm elections, and it's always not a great year. There's always these like fake bull traps, and that's his analysis. And again, maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. There's a few different opinions out there, and it's interesting because I just saw one of these channels, and it could be just for the clicks, right? But Crypto Banter, I've seen like multiple videos from their channel, just like I'm not covering the market anymore. I'm quitting crypto and all kinds of things like that. And I truth be told, I didn't click on the videos, but just seeing those headlines, seeing that, people might be thinking about leaving the crypto market or just putting the crypto market on pause and not covering the crypto market anymore or taking a break or anything like that, could mean that we're kind of exhausted. And when we are exhausted, and I'll tell you the truth, I feel exhausted, but that's because of multiple factors, right? Of course, when you're in a war, it's a little bit different, but multiple factors that you're feeling exhausted, that could, again, be a signal that we might be close to the bottom of this pain, right? We might be hitting max pain, and we're ready for a flipperoo. Right? If we go back, it's basically XRP has been at these levels since February 5th, right? Since we fell down to these levels on February 5th, we've basically outside of these like two pops that we had here, we've been in the same range of 130, 140, 138, 142, right? This range. Eventually, a capitulation gets broken out. And the question is going to be, are we going to see a leg down, right? Or a leg up and break out of this situation? And we'll find out. We'll get confirmation in the next coming days, maybe into next week, into April. Wow, it's already April. Crazy times, right? So we'll see how this market is going to play out. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? What is the next leg here for the market? Are we going to leg up like Raoul Paul thinks, or is this just going to be a bull trap, and Benjamin is right, and we're going to then later see a sell-off into the midterm elections. Let me know in the comment section, are you bullish, bearish? I'm thinking that most of you that are watching this video are a little bit more bullish because you continue to watch the videos. But I shouldn't assume anything, right? So let me know in the comment section down below so we can beat the bots, right? And smash the like button because it really helps out and it lets YouTube algorithm know that you like these videos. So that's always important. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.